you've noticed there's conversations that are had and politics involved, and you feel just very frustrated. Maybe you've been struggling with office politics as a woman in leadership. Well, in this video, I want to share with you a few overall strategies for you to keep in mind as you are navigating office politics so that you don't struggle with this so much. Because unfortunately, what happens oftentimes when we transition into different leadership roles, this is a part of it. So if you like this information so far, and you maybe are struggling with office politics as a woman in leadership, then you absolutely want to watch this video to the end. I'm going to give you a couple strategies that will help you to start navigating this situation so that you can come out ahead of everybody else. Now, office politics are something that people really struggle with. And I want to know from you, are you struggling with office politics? Have you struggled with it before? If so, put it in the comments below and let me know. Now, this is a live video, and if you are watching this portion of the live video, you are more than likely watching the replay. So I'm glad that you're here, and I appreciate you spending a few moments out of your day with me today. There's typically a point on the lives here on YouTube when people will join the conversation. So please give me just a few moments to say hello to everyone and greet them. And then we'll go into a couple strategies to help you as it relates to navigating office politics so that you're not struggling with this. Now, many of my clients tell me, I'm just here to be a leader. I don't want to deal with office politics. And most leaders feel that way. But office politics does come into play. So what are office politics? Let's start with that first. Office politics, well, let's even go further. What are politics? What is the root word of politics? The root word of politics is policy. Policy, if you're not aware, are really how big decisions are made. And if you watch any form of the news, for my instance, myself, I've spent a lot of time with congressional leaders on the state and federal level here in the United States. So these are going to be your public officials. So when you think about policies themselves are intended to be good. They're intended to be ways to make changes, ways to make movements, how to support other people or enhance our lives as individuals. That's the definition, generally speaking, of policy. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that's my summary over my 20 years of experience dealing with congressional leaders. Politics comes into play it really is the art of navigating these big decisions and who are making these big decisions. And so why people really struggle with this is that they just don't know what to do. So if you're watching this video now, welcome, glad you're here today. If you have ever struggled with office politics as a woman in leadership, which is my direct target audience, maybe you're a man in leadership and you're struggling with it also, let me know in the comments below and let me know where you all are joining from in this big, beautiful world today. All right, so we have Santosh Apu, SP Apu. If I said your name incorrectly, friend, I'm really sorry about that. And this individual says, hi dear, how are you? I'm Indian. Okay, well, welcome. Glad that you're here. I appreciate you being here for the live today. And let me know if you all have ever struggled with office politics. In this video, I'm going to share with you over 20 years worth of expertise in terms of how you can not struggle with office politics. I want to be able to provide you with some general guidelines for my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, as a director, as a manager, as a public speaker, and as an executive coach. I've interacted with a lot of congressional leaders here in the United States on the federal level and on the state level. So this is a video that will absolutely help you be able to get to that next level and help you not struggle with office politics as much. You just have to know exactly what you're doing and what you're going to do. And let's see, Santosh Apu, SP Apu says, I'm already liking your life. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you being here, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. I talk about ways to help you communicate at a higher level than your peers so that you stand out from everybody else in your discipline, in your world, and etc. So let's see what's going on. Santosh also says, please very safe driving in your car while driving. Yes, I'm being very, very safe. This is something I do been doing pretty consistently here on my channel, so I appreciate your well wishes, friend. Thank you so much. So we talked a little bit about policy. We know policies are where the big movements are taking place. Now we're going into the politics side of it. It's really navigating who's making these decisions and why, and how can you influence people to maybe advance what you're trying to do, and etc. So then we break it down even further going into the office. So office is pretty much, we're talking about your business, the people you're working with, and etc. So this is where people say, oh, I don't want to deal with office politics. But I'm telling you, if you are in a leadership role, any form of a leadership role, and you're watching this channel, this is what you will have to navigate as you're going through your career. Now, before I go into a couple strategies to help you all so that you're not struggling with office politics as much, let me say hello to Lanta Babu. Welcome, friend. How you doing today? Lanta Babu says, where are you from? I think that's what you're trying to say. I am based out of the United States, and I am in the Sunshine State of Florida. We have Spirit Wave. Hello, friend. How you doing today? Welcome. Let me know if you all have ever struggled with office politics. Ever struggled with office politics as a leader? I appreciate the heart emojis. Thank you, friends. Let me know, because in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can navigate office politics. This is something you're going to deal with if you're in any form of a leadership role. I know many leaders say, I don't want to deal with office politics, but guess what? When you become a leader, you're going to deal with it. So let's talk about how we can help you not struggle with it as much. Okay, Spirit Wave says, good, how are you? It says, hi, good, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. Any day I'm here live with you all is a fantastic day for me. Now, so we talked about office politics. Let me know if you're struggling with it in the comments below. Let me know if you're struggling with it if you're watching the replay. So what can you do? We just broke down a few moments ago, what is office politics? So if you missed that part, then just go back to the replay. I go a bit more into detail so we understand what are office politics. Now let's talk about how you can navigate it if you're struggling with it. Well, one of these strategies I share with my clients in a one-on-one setting, and I work specifically with women in leadership, but if you're on my YouTube channel, you might be a woman in leadership or a man in leadership. I'm just glad that you're here. Now, specifically, what comes up is that people are not quite sure of how to manage office politics. So I'm going to share with you what I share to my clients in a one-on-one setting, and this is from my over 20 years of navigating office politics as a senior leader and with congressional leaders, is you have to observe. So observing is very, 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 very important. The reason why observing is important is because if you take a few moments and you are able to look and see what's going on in the room or the conversation that you're having, people will tell you non-verbally what they are not willing to say out loud. So let me share with you an example. You may be in a meeting, and maybe you know that you're with other senior leaders and you're not exactly sure how to navigate this situation. Who do I need to talk to? Try not to overwhelm yourself with that. All you really need to do is something very simple, which is to just observe. You do not have to say much. Just look at what is happening. What do you need to look for if you're trying to navigate office politics and you're struggling with it? Well, one, you want to look at who is speaking to who. That's number one. You can learn a lot about each other and other people if you're trying to navigate office politics or you're struggling with it, if you just take a few moments and see who is speaking to who. Because most of the time when you're in those meeting settings, you can pick up on, I see that these two people talk quite a bit. This person talks often. This person doesn't say too much. You can really pick up on a lot. So that's one thing in terms of observing to help you with navigating office politics. The second is when you're navigating office politics, is not only are you observing who is speaking to who, but observe their body language as well. Now, I talk about this in extreme detail here on my channel. So if you like this information so far, you absolutely want to subscribe to this channel so you can communicate at a higher level than your peers. Now, you not only want to observe who's speaking to who, you will need to observe what their body language is saying. So I go into a lot of detail. There's a lot of videos here on my lives. I have a lot of pre-recorded videos that talk about body language and etc. Now, the other thing I want to share with you is in terms of body language, let's go into a little bit more detail. So body language specifically, I want you to take a look at their facial gestures. When comments are being made, when you're in a meeting and you're having a discussion, and maybe there's a topic that is a sensitive topic, is something that's being discussed, then you absolutely want to see what other people are doing with their facial expressions. Sometimes people are caught off guard, and unless you've been trained to really showcase your executive presence and control your facial expressions, which is something that I help my clients to do in a one-on-one setting, then people will give away what they're thinking, right? So they'll give it away. There may be a topic that comes up, they may frown, they may scowl. You'll look at their eyebrows. Eyebrows are a really big indicator in terms of what somebody is thinking. They may smile if they think something's funny. They may frown if they don't like it. So you really want to pay attention to what people are doing. Now, another aspect of this observation that we're talking about as it relates to navigating office politics is pay attention to not only their nonverbal gestures with their facial expressions, but also with their body. Sometimes when people are really uncomfortable in conversations, or they don't like a topic, they may do certain things. They may start to shift gait a little bit. They may start to move around in a chair a bit. They may have a pen, and I can't tell you how many pen tops I've seen popped off of pens in meetings because there's a very tense topic that's being discussed, and perhaps the person didn't want to talk about it. So those are some things that come up also. So these strategies will help you to start navigating office politics. Observation and being very observant in terms of what's going on, what are people saying, what are they not saying, is one of the absolute best ways to help you be able to navigate office politics. If you're struggling with it, the reason why you're struggling with office politics is because you just don't know what to do. That's it. You don't know what to do. You may not know who are the real decision makers, who are the real influencers of the conversation. And you don't have to struggle with office politics as a woman in leadership or as a leader. You just have to know what to do. And so this is the reason why you should contact me for a strategy session in the link below, because sometimes you just need a roadmap in terms of how you manage these situations. What are you specifically supposed to do in these situations? And I know there's a lot of executive coaches here on YouTube and in the world, and you want to work with individuals or invest in individuals that have actually been in those very high stakes, high pressure situations. That's my specialty, that's my expertise. Many people tend to help other people that are in those situations, but they may not have been in those very contentious situations themselves, which is why I can speak to you from experience so that you know that there's a certain way that you want to manage these situations. You just have to know the roadmap on terms of how to do it. So if this sounds good to you, or sounds like something you're interested in learning more about, then you absolutely want to subscribe to the channel. I talk about this all the time. So let me see what's going on in the chat. So we have Santosh Apu, SP Apu says your face is very beautiful, Angel. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, friend. So we talked about observing in terms of being a part of navigating office politics. So observing is very important. If you came to me and said, I'm struggling with office politics, I don't know what to do, my very first strategy would be you need to observe. You need to take some time. You need to observe. You need to see what is going on and what are people saying that they are not willing to say out loud. That's number one. Another strategy I'm going to share with you before I wrap up with the live is that you have to be able to communicate at a very, very high level. So let me explain, why is this important in office politics? I say on my channel oftentimes that people become great by how they communicate. And my role here, my mission on this earth is really to unlock the greatness within you. And when you are dealing with office politics, there's a hierarchy that happens. And as I mentioned before, when we talked about what is politics, what is policy, what is politics, what is office politics, when we brought everything together to talk about it, you have to be able to articulate your value, what you're trying to do, and what you want to accomplish, and how you can advance your specific agenda for your specific department, for your business, or etc. If you're not able to articulate that and communicate it to the people that need to hear it, those are your decision makers that you figure out by, one, observing, as we talked about a moment ago, then it's going to be very difficult for you to navigate office politics, and you will forever struggle with it. Communication is key. If you're struggling with communication, you feel like you could be doing better, or maybe you've been overlooked in promotions, or maybe you've been overlooked in meetings, then contact me for a strategy session, and the link is in the description below. But spend some time here on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of live videos that talk about specific communication skills and techniques and strategies that will help you to stand out from everybody else. And if you're struggling with communication and you need to get better at it, regardless of where you are on your leadership journey, then you absolutely want to take a look at my live channel, because that's where I spend a lot of my time, especially giving you those strategies that people don't talk about that much on YouTube in terms of that level of detail. Learn from my over 20 years of experience as a public speaker and in all the roles I've done in the past to fast track your success. You do not have to struggle with office politics. You do not. You just have to know what's going on, who are the decision makers, who are the influencers, and you have to know what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. That's very important too. So I've shared with you 2 strategies so far. The first strategy is you have to observe. If you're dealing with office politics as a woman in leadership or as a leader, you need to observe. You have to know what's going on, what conversations are being had, who is speaking to who, how are they changing their body language when a topic is being discussed. Maybe it's an uncomfortable topic. And if you like this information so far, you absolutely want to subscribe to my channel. This is what I talk about all the time, how I can help you to become a amazing communicator and be that leader that not only communicates at a higher level, but inspires other individuals as well. We also talked about communication. Communication is critically important if you are trying to navigate office politics. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to speak with an executive voice to help showcase your expertise in your specific role. If you're not able to communicate and you're struggling with this, then this is why you subscribe to my channel. You will not struggle with this, or work with me in a one-on-one setting if you want to get some additional support. But observing what's going on in the room, communicating, and not just communicating now. Now, communicating could be just, this is not the basic communication channel. No. If you're watching this channel or even clicked on this video, then you are wanting to communicate at a higher level than your peers. And so this is the channel where you're going to learn very real strategies, real techniques that will help you to communicate confidently under pressure. So if that sounds like something you need to do as a leader, then you absolutely want to subscribe to the channel. So we talk about those 2 strategies. And I'm going to give you a bonus strategy because I have a few more moments, and I want to know from you which of these strategies is your favorite. Which strategy did I share with you was your favorite in terms of how you can navigate office politics? Are you ready? So this is the final one I want to share with you. We've talked about 2 so far: observing, communicating. The third is to learn how to become a better public speaker. Now that goes into the line of communication somewhat, but if you can learn a bit more about public speaking, you will learn strategies and techniques that will help you to engage your audience that you're communicating with. If you are a leader and you're navigating office politics, there is a certain amount of influence that has to be developed or has to be established. You're not going to be able to influence other people if you're not able to really communicate with them in a way that engages them as an audience. And so there's certain strategies that we use as public speakers to help engage your audience. If you look at any world leader now and how they communicate, there are certain strategies, there's certain ways they speak, there's a tone of voice that they use, there's just certain things that they do to make people want to say, oh, I want to listen to what they have to say. And you may think, well, I don't want to become a public speaker and that's too hard and I don't want to do it. If you, watching this video, are trying to elevate yourself, you absolutely need to learn how to be a better public speaker. These are the keys to managing office politics. Now, there's a lot more I can share with you as it relates to managing office politics so that you're not struggling with this as a leader. But I wanted to give you something to work with today. So let me see what came up in the chat. We have Beans. Welcome, Beans. How you doing today, friend? Beans says, yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers are number 1 in the AFC North. Well, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you mentioning that, so at least the world knows about the Steelers in terms of where they at right now. So thank you for sharing that. I have not caught up with football recently, so that was very good for you to let me know, because I didn't know about that. I haven't watched football recently because I've been so involved on YouTube. Now, I shared with you 3 strategies today, and I want to know from you, which strategy did you like the most? Which one was best? And for those of you who have just joined, we're talking about how you can not struggle with dealing with office politics as a woman in leadership or as a man in leadership, depending on who's watching this channel. The first strategy we talked about, number 1, is you have to observe. You have to know what's going on in the room, who are having conversations that you may not know of. Number 2 is you want to position yourself in a place where you are able to communicate and articulate your values so that you can influence other people. Number 3 is that you want to be a better public speaker. So public speaking is very, very, very important. And if you like this information, feel free to share this with a friend of yours or a colleague or a loved one. If you know that they're perhaps dealing with office politics and are not sure what to do, then have them just watch a couple of videos on my channel. I have a lot of videos here. Specifically, there's videos on executive presence. They're on my channel. There's other videos that talk specifically about office politics. So just spend some time on my live channel and on my recorded videos. You will learn a lot in terms of how to communicate at a higher level than your peers so that you can stand out from everybody else as a leader. So I hope this information has been helpful to you. I go live Tuesday through Friday in the mornings, in the evenings now. So let me know if you have any questions as it relates specifically to office politics, maybe something specific that's happening to you, and I will be happy to support you and provide you with some insights that will help you on your journey. I hope you all have an absolute amazing day, and I appreciate you being present today, and have a fantastic day. Bye for now.